All right, what's up, guys? I'm just chilling, waking up, my morning coffee, breakfast of champions. Anyhow, yeah, I got nothing. So we'll start off with the disclaimer. This video is for my entertainment purposes mostly, and any and everything I say could be wrong. That's why I always say, do your own research and come to your own conclusions. So yeah, no, I got nothing, and yet here I am turning on the camera, even though I don't have anything to talk about. But see, that's kind of funny that this would be the case, because I go to check, the alt new tech media, and that's pretty much the same thing on alt new tech media. There's nothing. There's like nothing. And you can, they what they do is they'll hype up this nothing as if it's something, but it's just nothing. And then all these people they're like, no, it's not nothing. Those are important stories. This is really happening. You remember the National Enquirer? Any of you remember the National Enquirer, dude? Inquiring minds want to know. Where you had stories of vampire babies and all kinds of fucking wacky, like the National Enquirer was like it was just this joke, People would just read it for entertainment, but the National Enquirer presented itself as, real stuff. This is real stuff going on, vampire babies and blah, 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 right? And, the only reason anyone ever bought it was because for entertainment, and for novelty. Like, look at this crazy fucking whacked out fucking paper I got called the National Enquirer, and look at these stories. They're like so fucking retarded, right? Remember the National Enquirer? So anyways, yeah, no, I got nothing. And so, I just wake up, I decide, well, I'm going to check the alt new tech media, and there's all these videos all over the place on the new and alt tech media platforms. And it's like there's nothing, though. You look around and it's just like, another National Enquirer story about vampire babies and shit. And it's just like, man, all of this so-called content, and it's all just crap, It's just like on the National Enquirer, like, for example, using that story as the example of the vampire babies, and then with the vampire baby headline on the National Enquirer, there's this picture, and it looks so fucking fake and stupid. It's a picture of what's supposed to be a vampire baby, and when you look at it, you're just like, dude, this is so dumb. So all these videos on alt tech, right? And they have their shitty thumbnails, and they just look so terrible. It's so obvious that it's just this Photoshop, where they try to make this Photoshop thumbnail picture really like pop and stuff, and it just looks super shitty and stupid, just like the picture of the vampire baby on National Geographic. And then it's like everywhere you're scrolling through the alt tech media platform, and it's all just fucking all this stupid crap with these fucking shitty images for thumbnails and stuff. I mean, it's totally insane, dude. And that's the alternative to, big tech and mainstream media. And so, if the alternative media has nothing, well, then it's obvious. The big tech platforms have got nothing either. and neither does mainstream media. You know, there's nothing. And so, like, I turn on the camera and I'm like, I got nothing. Yeah. And yeah, I got nothing. So, I guess we could go back to talking about poverty and homelessness, since that's actually a real thing going on, you know. But, you know, nobody's ever talking about that. I wonder why. Could it be that they're hiding the truth about homelessness and poverty from us? Could it be? No. Mm-mm. It couldn't be at all. You know, I was thinking about that too, like, you know how they use media to sway people's opinion. And media is always um you know, the opinion on all media, whether it's mainstream media, big tech media, new and alt tech media, the opinion is always you know, anti-poor, anti-homeless, anti-poor. And so, and then you got all these masses and hordes of sheeple that just believe it, you know, drink the Kool-Aid all day long. You know, because the popular opinion on all media is like anti-poor people, anti-homeless people, right? And it's all about working and middle class people, you know, and how unfair the system treats working and middle class people, right? And this is the popular opinion. I mean, like perpetual, nonstop. Of course, because follow the money. Everything's about money. You know, money, 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 money. Everything is about money. So of course they're gonna hate and ignore the poor and homeless, and that's gonna be the you know, that's gonna be the communist message, the brainwashing message, always 24/7. And what would be super hilarious, because media is controlled, you know, it's not controlled by popular opinion. Media creates the popular opinion, and all the sheep will blindly follow it. So what would be funny is if they started shifting the popularity to like how we need to help the poor and homeless. You know, they've been hiding the truth from us about homelessness and poverty. And then all those sheep will all started following it. That would be fucking hilarious. Because you know the masses and hordes of sheeple, they'll follow the story whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. And so if in the next year it became real popular, you know, that you know, we need to help the homeless and the poor people, and the poor and homeless people are suffering more injustice than anyone else, and that became the popular narrative on new tech and alt tech and big tech and mainstream media. Like all the sheeple who have been like totally anti-poor and anti-homeless and stuff, they'd all shift and just start following that trend like sheep. And so then then you got these masses and hordes of people whose opinion has been swayed by all this media, and then they're all like, yeah, we need to do something to help those homeless people. We need to do something. But you know, if that ever did happen, it would cause a civil war. That's one of the main reasons why they continue to, why all media is anti-homeless and anti-poor. Because if they started shifting the direction in the opposite, going the opposite way, it would start a civil war. Like people would just be like, fuck this. You know, they're going to make me homeless next. I'm arming up. I'm hitting the streets. They're not making me fucking homeless. Fuck these fuckers, right? If it's true that they're driving all these homeless people into poverty, and they've been lying to me all these years, telling me that all those homeless people just did it to themselves, and the truth is that they've been manufacturing poverty, they're not gonna fucking drive me into homelessness. I'm fucking arming up. Get the fucking guns out. Everybody get your gun. It'd be a civil war, guaranteed. Civil fucking war. This is why they never want to talk about what's really going on with homelessness and poverty. Because if it's true that all that homelessness and poverty in the US is all manufactured, then a bunch of people are going to start panicking and getting scared. And you know, because nobody wants to be homeless. That's a death warrant. And if they're fucking if they have the power to make you homeless like overnight, and like the fucking masses of people in this country found that out, if that were true and it were found out, oh dude, that's one of the top fears in the United States of America, is to be homeless. You know? Well, you think not? Well, look at all these people with children. What would happen to them? Look at all these people that are raising families and this and that. What would happen if overnight they became homeless? Well, their children would be homeless. So, of course, they're going to be arming up guns. They're going to fucking fighting, you know? And look at all the greedy people in the world who's their whole religion is money. Their entire philosophy is based on, you know, money. And then the threat of losing money to all these greedy people. Oh, dude, all these people, they'll fucking arm up. There'll be a civil fucking war. There'll be blood in the streets, man. Anyways, I got nothing. So, but like I said, I mean, I went to the alt and new tech platforms because that's where it's all at. And all I see is a bunch of National Enquirer, you know, stories of vampire babies and stuff. And it's like, it's laughable. Again, I don't know how many, you know, like millennials and Zoomers, they don't even know what the National Enquirer is. X generation and the boomers all know exactly what National Enquirer is. It's a fucking joke. And it's this paper that's constantly pumping out all this stupid shit about vampire babies and fucking wacky shit like that. And is always on the fucking, you know, on the rack next to the newspaper. And the only reason anyone would ever read it or look at it is because it's funny. It's so stupid that it's funny. You know, you'd get the whack jobs that actually thought that those were real articles about vampire babies and stuff. But the majority of people, they just look, the only reason they would buy it is like the same reason a kid would buy a comic book or something. Because it's like, look at all this crazy shit in this fucking, you know, in this magazine, dude, you know. You know, or, you know, Mad Magazine, Cracked, whatever, you know. It's like, look at all this whacked out fucking weirdo shit. That's the only reason anybody would buy National Enquirer, you know. And I'm telling you, every day, it's always the same on these new and alt tech platforms. Oh, vampire babies are, you know, have been spotted in the Grand Canyon, and here's these shitty photos to prove it and stuff. And then you go into the comment section thinking, dude, there's no way people are buying this shit. I say you go in the comments to look, and everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I knew there was vampire babies. And then you'll have somebody in the comment section being like, dude, this is fucking stupid. And then they're getting dogpiled and ratioed. You don't even believe that vampire babies? You're stupid. Anybody that doesn't believe that vampire babies exist is a sheeple. You got that crap all over in the comment sections, all over in these new and alt tech platforms. Like, it's just dumb, dude. It's just total stupidity. You know, look at any of these. What's that fucking Tim Pool, dude? Tim Pool is the biggest pile of fucking dog shit, and that motherfucker is a multi-millionaire off of his garbage, bro. Pure fucking garbage and straight up lies. But somehow he's just every day he's pumping out like fucking 20 videos a day, and just them shekels just keep pouring in. And everybody knows he's a fucking lying, fucking grifting, shilly piece of shit who's bringing in millions. And he's dominating your free speech platform. All these Tim Pools, they're dominating your so-called free speech platforms. Well, isn't it obvious that that's not free speech? If your so-called free speech platforms are dominated by the Tim Pools, isn't it just obvious? Totally obvious that that's not free speech at all. Like this, that's the furthest thing from free speech, right? And the hilarious thing is that if alt and new tech media is just full of a bunch of garbage, well, then that's all you're going to find on big tech, and that's all you're going to find in mainstream media. So it's just this constant, nonstop, 24/7 fucking piles of garbage, like Idiocracy, all over in all media. And that's what they're telling you is free speech platforms, dude. So again, I got nothing. So go check out alt and new tech media. You know, and report back to me how much you have found that is even worth a fuck. Like, what, 1% of it, of all of it at most, is even worth fucking half of your time? And that's your free speech platform. That's the public square of free thought. That's it. Tim Pool, Richie from Boston, Styx Hexenhammer, yeah. All these others, fucking grifty, shilly, just disgusting scumfucks. So yeah, I got nothing. But you know, I wonder what you're gonna find anywhere else. The same thing that I do? Nothing. I mean, it's great fodder for fucking sheeple. Sheeple love the vampire baby story. Sheeple just love it. For whatever reason. Because it's entertaining, or because they believe it's real, or whatever. It's just a distraction, you know? Bread and circuses. The circus is the distraction. And the circus is fucking, you know, the circus on the alt tech media is on and cracking, dude. It's just fucking slapping down the fucking circus shit, dude, all fucking day. And again, if that's all there is, dude. That's it. So here I am. I got nothing. Right? See you, boys.